Hey y'all, it's Ron. In this video, I'm going to go over the processes that I go through in doing my nightscape photography. This is something that I've been doing for several months now, and I thought it might be helpful that if you wanted to know or wanted to do this yourself, that you had some tips. I am a Nikon shooter, so this will be about Nikon gear, but the video would pertain to any gear, not just Nikon. So stay tuned for the tutorial, and I will put timeline chapters in here because I have saved the photographs and the commentary to the end of the video in case you want to skip forward and just go to the commentary part. And otherwise, the video is only about 23 minutes long. I hope you enjoy it. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.
Good morning. It is 4:45 a.m. and I'm heading out on location to the Chick-fil-A. Now, I was there yesterday evening in between the rains scoping the situation out. For my shoot. A couple of days ago, I stopped there and was using the Nikon Z8 and the Nikon 14-30 f4 lens. The problem with that is when I got home, in the attempt to capture starburst in the lights, I had taken the lens down to f22, which was not a good thing, because after doing some checking about the performance of this lens on the internet and the different apertures where the sharpest part of this lens was, I found out that after you get above f11, that diffraction starts to set in dramatically on that lens. So on the Nikon 14-30 f4 lens, the sharpest aperture is somewhere between f5.6 and f8. Once you get above f11, you start to introduce diffraction, which is a real problem. And when I got home and looked at the photographs, they looked very bad, okay, especially in the corners. I mean, they weren't terribly bad, they were just not good, okay? So I decided to come back and redo the shoot. I came back yesterday evening with my Nikon Z50 Mark II and the 24-120 lens, which is not the camera I'm using today. That's a crop sensor camera. I'm using a full frame camera. But I was able to determine a new location to stand and come up with a game plan, and that's what I'm doing today. I'm going back this morning to reshoot the location. And just bring you up to speed on what I'm doing. I have this project a self-made project that I've imposed on myself, and it's to go around and capture some local businesses that have interesting lighting, or that just look kind of neat, and capture those at night, okay, with different lighting situations. Now today I'm going out to the Chick-fil-A because now this morning, going to the Chick-fil-A, some of these locations I want to use ambient light. This one here I do not, okay? There's a lot of distractions behind the Chick-fil-A that wouldn't really matter too much. I don't think I could capture much of the sky at that location because there's a lot of trees around the building. So I'm choosing just to go at night and do this photography shoot. But some of the other locations that I've chosen, I'm wanting to use ambient light. I want to use blue hour light or golden hour light, and it could be in the morning or the evening golden hour, blue hour. I'm not too sure. It just depends on what direction the building is facing in. And that's why it's important that you go out and you scope out these locations during the daytime and kind of take into consideration what direction the sun would be in, if it's going to be a full moon, and all those kind of things, okay? Take all that into consideration when you're deciding to do a shoot like this. Now, this is not my normal genre of photography. I'm mostly a landscape photographer, sometimes wildlife photographer, but I think this is a project that I came up with to kind of break some of the boredom that I've been into this past summer, trying to get my juices back, in other words, my photography juices. So as I mentioned in a previous video, I had been watching some Nick Carver videos and a couple other these film type photographer videos that are shooting large format film, and they've started to inspire me just a little bit to be a better photographer, to be thinking more like a pro when I'm looking at compositions and determining what I'm going to shoot. I'm not a pro, okay? I'm a serious hobbyist, but you know, thinking on the pro level will make you a better photographer. One quick tip: when you're out scoping these locations out during the daytime, well, make sure you make a trip back at nighttime also to check for lighting situations, okay? So let me give you a situation right here, right now. This is gonna be a fail this morning, okay? I'm here early, it's 4:50 in the morning, and I'm gonna show you, okay, all the lights, all the exterior lights are off in the building, okay? Let me show you. The sign is not illuminated and the outside lights are not on. Now the other day when I came here, the lights were on early in the morning, but they aren't now, so I'm not too sure if they turn the lights on when they come into work or what, okay? So yeah, some of the workers are starting to come in now. I don't know. I'll have to talk to them. I may have to come back here and talk to this business. So this is going to be a fail this morning, okay? Because the sign's not lit and the building lights are not on. Well, that must be it. They have to come into work before the lights in the building come on, because while I was sitting there, I seen some workers going into the back of the building, and now the lights are on. So I'm going to go back and reposition myself. Now it's about 5 a.m. in the morning, so you have to make note of this, okay? This is something that could happen. You know, I came over here on Sunday morning when they're closed and the lights were off, and you know, that's what it is. They apparently have to come into work and turn the lights on. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go over here and get set up, get my tripod out, and take some photographs. So when I was here yesterday evening, I marked a location over here that I wanted to stand at, and there's some kind of water box deal over here, and I remembered where I marked, where I said I was going to stand. So if you come out and scope these places, all right, then what I would do is find me some kind of way to mark where you're going to stand at, so when you come back you kind of remember that. Get my tripod situated here and go get my camera. Don't make fun of my attire. I'm getting ready to go for my walk this morning. So I brought the Nikon Z8, okay, with the 24 to 120 this morning, the Nikon 24 to 120. I brought a 6-foot ladder with me. I'm gonna start carrying that in the truck, and that's in case I have to get up higher. This tripod will reach pretty high, but I don't need the 6-foot ladder this morning. Let me bring you over here where I'm at, set up so you can see what I'm doing. Yeah, I don't need the 6-foot ladder this morning. I brought one with me just in case. So here here's what I'm looking at, and there's some lights in the parking lot and what have you. Okay, I want to try to eliminate those. So I'm shooting at ISO 100 and f5.6, and it looks like my shutter speed might be about I don't know, let's see, about 1 second. Okay, now what I'm trying to do, I'm gonna take a shot right here real quick. Let me change my focus. I got it on a wide area small. Let's go to single point, and I've got it also on high speed. That's not a bad shot. The lights, let me point to them here in the video. There's a light right up here, right there, it's in the frame, and that light right there is in the frame, and I really don't think I want those in the frame. So I'm going to zoom in just a little bit, and making sure that my camera is absolutely level. One thing nice about this lens is the amount of distortion is minimal. Okay, we have a hard time to get the whole building in with that light on the right. Checking for sharpness in the center, and it doesn't look too bad. Okay, it's a pretty nice shot. Now what I'm going to do is kind of do some different compositions. So I'm going to move right over there, a little bit closer. There's some plants over there, so let me go over there real quick. You can see this tripod's pretty tall. It's about 7 feet. So I'm a little bit close right there to get the flag and the building and the sign in there. I only have 24 millimeters to work with, so I'm going to have to back up a little bit. There's some bushes right here I kind of like to have in as a foreground interest, but I'm not too sure I'm going to be able to do that. So let me back up just a little bit and see what kind of composition I can do here. I'm zooming in on the camera, I'm previewing it and making sure that I do have good focus at f5.6. So I think what I'm going to do is change it to f7.1, go up to 7.1 at ISO, which is going to give me a little bit longer shutter speed, about a 2-second shutter speed at 7.1, f7.1. Let's try this and see what that looks like. So yeah, I need to move just a little bit. There's a light, I can see the flag, and the flag's not really flying this morning, but there's a light pole right here, and it's obscuring the flagpole from my field of view. So I'm going to move to the right a little bit, move my camera to the right, just jog it to the right. So let's do that right now, move it to the right just a little bit. And now they got that light, there's a light over there too. Yeah, so we got different situations here. Let's see what this looks like. Yeah, I'm still not able to get the entire, well, it'd help if I zoom back a little bit. All right, so this is the scene here, and we're going to do 2 seconds at f7.1, ISO 100. And that is photograph 7076. I will show you that in the video now. Now I'm going to move around to the front of the building and try to get some different shots of it while I'm here. So this is a side profile. Let's go ahead and move over here to the front and put you up here on the flower beds so somebody don't accidentally come through and run over. So this kind of photography is not really hard to do if you come out and pre-plan a little bit ahead of time. That's why I like to come out here and scope these locations out during the daylight hours. I wish that flag was flying a little bit more. but it's not very windy. Be very careful when you're working in the dark area, dark hours, that you get your camera locked in and all kinds of things like that. Let me bring you over here with me so you can see what the composition is, what I'm looking at. So I've changed positions, as you can see. So I'm right here at the front of the building, and we're going to have to explore this just a little bit because yesterday when I was out here scouting the location, I really didn't come over this side because there were cars in the parking lot. There was a lot of business here yesterday. It was a Monday. So yeah, to me, the flag is an important part. So I had to back up into the grass a little bit just so I could capture the flag and the sign in the building picture. For me, that is an important aspect of this composition, okay, is to get the flag and the signs in there. Now, where I'm at right now, the sign that's on the building, the Chick-fil-A sign, is obscured by the flagpole. So what I need to do is adjust to the left a little bit, like this, and I'm going to move my camera over and reposition to get this composition. So I've adjusted my exposure to be back to 1 second, which is my meter saying it's one stop under at f7.1, and the ISO is 100. Somebody just pulled in the parking lot over here. They're not even open yet. And it's looking pretty good. I kind of like this composition. Now I'm going to take a few of just the building part itself. I'll zoom in just a little bit closer. And now I'm going to do it. That was 1 second exposure on photograph 7079. Now I'm going to go to a 2 second exposure, same composition, which is dead on zero exposure, zero bubble, like I call it. Okay, that's about it, okay, for this shoot. And we're going to take the photographs home and put them in the computer. Thanks for coming along.
What I like to do now is share a few of these images that I took during the scouting portion of my project. Now this was with the Nikon Z8 and the 14-30 lens at 19.5 millimeters. As you can see on the screen, 1/500th of a second, f8 at ISO 720. I think it's very important when you identify your subject or your compositions that you do visit them during the daylight hours and take some test photographs to come home and study the scene to determine what you're going to do in the dark. Because when you're out there in the dark, it's a little bit harder to manipulate things on your camera, and you're limited by time, especially if you're trying to do photographs before the sun rises. So this particular photograph that I took as a test shot shows all the vehicles in the parking lot. But what's more importantly is I used my Nikon Z50 Mark II with the 24-120 lens. This was at 24 millimeters full frame equivalent. 1/500th of a second, f5.6 at ISO 1000. So this was taken on my first night. I did go there 2 different evenings. This was with the Nikon Z8 and the 14-30. My attempt at capturing starburst in the light. This was a 20-second exposure at f22. Unfortunately, I did not do my homework on the 14-30 f4 lens and did not realize that diffraction was very prevalent at f22. In fact, diffraction actually starts on this lens at f11. So I recommend, if you're going to use the 14-30, that you shoot it somewhere between f5.6 and f8 or even f9. I did do some additional testing with the 14-30, and at f16 diffraction is not as prevalent as f22, and you can still create a fairly decent starburst in your lighting at that aperture. This was probably one of my favorite shots of that first night using the 14-30. You'll notice that this is an 8-second shot at f14 at ISO 100, and the starburst produced by the 14-30 at f14 is satisfactory. Actually, it's very good, which you can see. And by using this wider angle lens, I was able to capture my foreground interests, which were these shrubs with the flowers, as you can see in this frame. Now we move on to the second night of my second visit to the location. And now we're using the Nikon Z8 with the 24-120 lens. This is at 29 millimeters, 1 second f5.6 ISO 100. Paying close attention to my composition, I was trying to keep the street lights that were in the parking lot out of the frame. But as you can see, in order for me to capture the entire building, some of the light on the right-hand side, the street light on the right-hand side, is bleeding over into the frame. This image has been cropped. Now notice how the flagpole and the sign are in the frame. I was able to capture those in the composition. I think it's important to include the pleasing external elements of your location, like the sign and the flag, in your composition. Now you noticed in my video I was talking about keeping my tripod up high, and that's so you keep your vertical lines of your structures as straight as possible without having to use software to straighten them. If you look at the right hand side of this building on the right hand side of the frame, it looks to me like I could have done some post-processing transform adjustment to the image to make that line up a little bit better. But otherwise, the flagpole and the sign, which are kind of important elements, are straight up and down vertically. Now we're at 27 millimeters. I've moved to the left slightly on a 2-second exposure to f7.1. As you can see, it did not produce quite the dramatic starburst in that light under the sign. In fact, I find that light kind of distracting since it's touching the bottom of the sign itself. So I might have tried to reposition myself. And in the final image at 24 millimeters, f7.1 for 1 second, this is probably my favorite image of the session. This shot right here. I love the angle of the building that I've approached it with, and getting the sign and the flag was quite the bonus. There might be a few distracting elements in the photograph, and if I hadn't told you, you probably wouldn't have noticed them. But over on the left-hand side, just between the light and the sign, down below, seems to be some kind of wood structure there that's a little bit brighter in the scene. I probably could have taken a touch-up brush and touched that up, but I chose just to leave it like it is. Like I said, this is probably the most favorite image of the whole session that I did. So I wanted to just give this to you and let you see how you can get out and do a project on your own. Having a project will rejuvenate the photography juices within you, especially if you become stale at your photography or bored or a little bit bored. I find these nightscape photographies enjoyable. It's a very quiet time of night. I like to go out early in the morning, about an hour before sunrise or a little bit more, to give me a little more time. Make sure you go out and scope your locations and find interesting subjects to photograph. And I hope I gave you some encouragement to go out and try this. Now, I have done some other nightscape videos, and I have a playlist of them, and I will put those in the description of this video if you want to go watch the other videos I have done. I find these projects very interesting, and it should help you rejuvenate your photography if you have become bored or otherwise. Anyways, my name is Ron Durant. I am a photographer. I do live in East Tennessee. Y'all have a nice day now. Bye-bye.